Welcome back, everybody.
What's up, guys?
It has been a while.
It has
It's
been.
been a minute.
Stuff has
2
happened.
weeks. 2 weeks. A lot of sad shit happened, which is the main thing.
Yeah.
On David's side, unfortunately. But we're back. He's feeling better, as you guys can see. He's all smiles and shit. But I think he's always smiles to hide away the pain. But yeah, but we're all back. We're all smiles and happy. We're back to bring you guys the podcast. I've missed it, man. A lot of shit's happened, man. A lot of shit's gone down, man. We have a lot to cover. So we're gonna kind of speed through this, but we will start as always with what we're playing. David, let's start with you because I already know the fucking answer. Let them know what you're playing.
I'm playing Elden Ring, of course.
Of course, along with half of the world.
A shit ton of Elden Ring. Before you ask, I'm on like my third major like play character. So I started out with a Dex Arcane build because I was like, I knew there were some good arcane weapons that had some bleed damage. So I started off with that, but like I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. I was playing with Brian, and I just wasn't doing the same amount of damage as he was, and I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it.
You didn't know why?
I just wasn't feeling it. So I started over, and I was gonna do a strength build, and that was going pretty far. I went further with that one. I beat the second main boss with that build. And then I was like, you know what? I've always said that like I want to do a magic build, and I've never done a magic build ever in any of my Dark Souls playthroughs at all. I've never done magic. And I was like, you know, this time I'm gonna do magic. So I've done magic. I've followed this build guide to like get like all like really good stuff early. Like the way, because it's an open world, you can go get like late game shit like right away. You just have to
that's the best.
You just have to like avoid crowds and like
just ninja yourself around everything.
I was just rolling everywhere, like barely getting through. But yeah, I got everything. I got all the stuff, all the spells I need to get, all of the staff that I need. That's an S tier staff. I can't upgrade it, so there's one staff in the game that's better than this staff. And actually Brian has 2 of them, so he's gonna give me one. But I need like 52 intelligence to wield it, and that's late game. That's
a high
stats.
Number. I know that's a high number.
Yeah. And I think I'm at 30 right now, 20, 25, 30, somewhere around there. So, but no, it's hella fun. It's Dark Souls, but open world. It's really well done. Just exploring, finding like random caves, going into them, and finding a boss battle all of a sudden is really cool. They got little like mysteries and stuff you can find and solve, and yeah, it's fun. The magic build is fun so long as you like so I can see if it wouldn't be as fun if you didn't follow this build guide, because there's not a lot of really good spells until late game, which is rough. But doing it this way was a lot of fun. So
I've been told magic and summons is definitely pretty good in this game.
Summons are good. Yeah, if you upgrade your summons, they can basically like you need summons for the bosses. Like I bet like you could get through with just fighting the bosses one-on-one, just like you have in all Dark Souls games, FromSoft games. But the summons help a lot just because they distract the boss, so you can get away and then go for a strong attack or something like that. So it's good. It's
really good. I heard about it, and because like from Reddit and stuff, because I've just been reading the discourse about the game and shit, and then I actually saw someone on the Discord playing it, and they actually did use the summon, and I don't know what it was. I don't play the game, but it was like 3 wolves.
Yeah, that's like the first creatures. Summons you get,
and I was like, oh, now I can see why the summons are pretty fucking ballin', because like especially if you don't have the option to play online with somebody, yeah, like the cool term, the in term is it takes their aggro away.
Yeah.
that's the cool term with these type of games. As they take it like the summons takes the boss's aggro, and yeah, it opens you up. And I saw it and I was like, hell yeah, like, are you kidding me? Like, if you got efficient with the summons and you knew like how quickly they can take
And
it
you
off,
can,
and especially if you upgraded
yeah,
them, like
yeah,
you
you can
said,
upgrade
like,
them, which is really
yeah,
cool.
and they take a few hits too. They don't just go down in a hit, which
Yeah,
is good.
there's the
Like,
one that I have right now. Instead of the dogs, it's 2 skeleton guys, but when they die the first time, they'll rise back up again. So you get them
ooh,
twice basically. Um,
okay.
so that was pretty cool. And then yeah, I have magic that if I can get off, can do a lot of damage. So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I know magic. I know the power of magic from soft games. I don't know how they progress in Dark Souls, but with Demon Souls, I think it's just I didn't know this, but now that I played it, I guess it's a known thing that like if you want to cheese the
Yeah.
game, just do
It
magic.
isn't
Just do
as
magic.
cheesable here, but I definitely found it with the summons. So long as I can, like, it gets iffy at the very end because my summons die, and then it's just me, and I gotta find a way to like get the last 1/8 of the health bar gone, because casting speeds and stuff like that. But it's been fun. It's been fun. What about you?
Yeah. Um. Whoo man, the gamut over here. All right, because I dropped Neo for a little bit. All right, and now that just opened the floodgates. So okay, I'm gonna list them off real fast. So I play this game called Dreamfall Chapters, which is a Norwegian indie game, or Norwegian like made indie game. And then I played Monster Energy Supercross 2, and then I played I started this new game called Anima, not Enema, Anima with an A.
I would hope not.
Uh, yeah, I know. I think it's American made, but it's definitely an anime game. I can just tell by the voice acting. Like it's the American voice acting for animes. It is absolutely that. Um, and so I was like, okay, this is clearly an anime game. Can I please just change the subtitles to Japanese? Nope. Which is why I know this is not
Yeah.
Japanese made, because they would definitely have the subtitle option. So I'm just like, God damn it. You're gonna make an anime game and use the anime English tropes for dubs. But then like I don't understand, like how does this happen? Anyways, and there's another game that I can't Pumpkin Jack. Played that as well. That came out like a couple years ago. And anyway, so I'll go through them all real quick. So Monster Energy Supercross 2, fucking garbage. I don't know why I play these games, but I do. Because I bought the third one and I bought the fourth one because they were both on sale. Like for like super cheap, like less than $20. And I bought them because like they're super simple and there's not much to them. But like, okay, if you're just playing the game, it's whatever. It's what you expect. It's a off-road supercross thing, right? It's just what you see on TV. This is what it is. But if you're going for the trophies, it is needlessly hair pulling. It's just it's just hard for the reasons it should not be hard. And I'm not even going to get into the details. I just know that it sucks. If you're a platinum hunter, like it is an easy plat and a hard plat all at the same time. I would not recommend it. That's what I'm going to say. The game's whatever. I'm moving on. Next, this anime game. I've only played like an hour of it. I will finish it. It seems interesting enough. The combat's kind of fun. Um, I will just look over the voice acting and just laugh at it rather than be pissed off
Yeah.
by it, because I know what I'm getting into now. Because yeah, I mean everyone knows. I mean, I don't even watch anime that much, and even I know like English dub anime. I don't know when they'll ever figure it out.
They've
Like,
gotten a
how
lot
can you
better.
do so well? How can you do so well when like with like American made stuff, but when it comes to anime stuff, we just somehow cannot talk right
Well, okay.
when we're trying to
So
voice act
we don't
these
need to get
people.
into that because I could talk about this stuff forever. But there are reasons.
Okay, maybe that could be another
There
podcast
are
then. I don't
reasons
know, but
why it is hard to do
there are.
dubs. Yeah.
All right, whatever. Well, it still baffles my brain. I'll just say that. Okay. Anyway, so I'll get over that. It seems fun enough. I'll finish it. But then Pumpkin Jack, super fun game. So I remember it coming out. It was supposed to be like a love letter to platformers, 3D platformers of yesteryear, PS1, PS2 era, Ratchet and Clank, Crash, Spyro, Gex, Sly Cooper, all that stuff, right? And I was like, okay, cool. Like, and it was super cheap on a sale. recently, some time ago, and I was like, okay, let me buy this. You know, I remember, and it's also a super easy plat. It's like an indie game, but not an indie game. It's like it kind of blurs the line. Like it's way more polished than any indie game has a right to be. But I think it is made by one guy. So like, but I don't know if it's at like double A level yet because like it's only like 6-7 hours long. It's not a long game. And so like, and if we kind of like group up like Biomutant as like a double A type of game, or like Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice as like a double A game, it's like I don't know if it's like along those caliber, but it's definitely bigger than an indie game. And I don't know if a single A, like maybe we can new tier single A games, I don't know, or just really really fucking good indie games, I don't know. But it was a really fun game. Definitely a love letter to platformers of yesteryear. If you're a 3D platformer fan like I am, pick it up. You will. It's really charming. It's fun. Yeah, it's not the most robust combat wise, but it's fairly simple. The collectibles aren't even that much of a chore to get. I did miss a couple here and there, but like there's guides, and I only ended up missing like one in any out of like the 6 levels. So like they're not even like crazy hidden. It's just a really fun game. I enjoyed myself quite a bit. Finished in a couple days. So yeah, I definitely recommend it. It only got like 7s at it, or maybe 8s at the most out of 10s, and yeah, it doesn't deserve like crazy good reviews, but it's really fun, and I hope that that developer will continue will go on to make something a little bit bigger and more robust with this success, in my opinion. And then lastly is Dreamfall Chapters. This game was all over the place for me. It's all over the fucking place. So it's like a, and apparently this game has like a long series. There's like multiple games on It's mainly a PC thing, and it's like a whole bunch of other games in it. And I'm like, what the hell? And like it tries to recap everything for you, and I'm like, what is going on? It has to do with like a dystopian future in like 2200, and like I guess they're like the main chick like use this thing, there's like these thing called dream machines or whatever, and like they like little helmets that go outside your head to go into dream time. And it's like basically I guess these distorted realities, basically, you know, like kind of like some Black Mirror shit, you know, like dystopia. Like you can create your own futures, but you get too caught up in that, and you just never want to leave, and people are like addicted to it. But then like this corporation took them and like try to get everyone to be on it, and like just we control everybody and shit. And then so she went in and she stopped it, but it coincided with like some crazy ass fantasy world which is somehow connected to Earth. And then they were going through the same shit, but just not with technology, but like some other kind of like we control the people type of thing. And it coincided, and she stopped that, and then now it's coming back, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? But like, I'm like still playing it, right? Because I'm like, I'm just gonna give it a shot because it's like one of those type of like heavy rain type of games, except minus the QTEs. Like it is like one of those really heavy decision based games. Some puzzles. I guess they're puzzles. They're not presented as puzzles, but like, you know, you kind of need to do the thing that then will lead to you to do the other thing. And if you don't do the first thing, then you can't do the next thing, but you have to figure out what that first thing was. Shit like that, you know, like trial and error stuff. But I ain't got time for trial and error, so I had a platinum guide the whole time to help me get through the game. And also, like, it's an indie game, but like this game was like 10 hours long. It was a really hefty game, but like I could tell there was so much care given to the title. Like it was a Unity made game, and it showed because it came out like 5 years ago, something like that. I always remember seeing it at GameStop, and I thought it was a VR title at first. Apparently, it wasn't. But anyways, I like there's like these cool attention to details and stuff. Like for instance, when you play as the girl, she lives in like in I guess their modern time, like in a city and all that stuff. And like you progress through the game, you know, she actually changes outfits. Like she wears different clothes for different things. And I'm like, yeah, that makes fucking sense. Like I don't know why that's not a thing more often. Like if you're playing as a human in Earth and it's not like some crazy weird time frame, why wouldn't you have different clothes?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and also if you choose different options, she'll wear a different clothing thing depending what option you chose in like earlier in the game. And I was like, oh, that's a fucking cool thing that they did. Like, um, and then the guy is I didn't even catch this at first. I don't even know how I missed this, but I guess the main guy you play as, like in the fantasy world, he's gay. I didn't even realize that. It was said at the very end of the game, and then like in passing to the point where I was like, oh, okay, cool, all right, that's fine. So I was like, okay, that's pushing that, and there's also this, and then and yeah, I mean, like it was just I was like, it's slow, it's taking its time, it's a little boring at times, but like you could tell with all the dialogue and the story, and they didn't like it didn't overstay its welcome, but it also did at the same time just because I just didn't understand the story. Like I didn't have a history with the story, but like I could tell like they really wanted to tell their stories to the fullest, and they did. And I was like, you know what, this is not bad. This ain't bad. This is not bad. Like for an indie game, I was like, this is kind of what gives indie games a good name, you know. And Pumpkin Jack to another extent. Like this is indie games done right. And these guys, these teams aren't big either. They're not fucking 100 people teams either, you know. So it's like it's interesting the gamut of quality you get when it comes to the indie scene, right? And that's and yeah, because I also played this other game. I forgot this game called Darker Skies. Fuck this game. I don't understand what the hell. So, okay, I don't know how it is for Xbox, but I imagine it's the same process. When any game comes out, you have to go talk to Sony and you got to tell them, hey, this game coming out. Here's our game. You know, it's like, okay, cool. We'll put it on the storefront, whatever. But like, you know, we need your trophy list, and they register the trophy list with them. And sometimes with PlayStation games, there's different lists for different regions. Like Japan has their own list, North America has their own list, Europe has their own list. Sometimes it's just one list, unified, no matter where you play it at. But sometimes a separate list depending on where you're playing the game or what version of the game you have. For some reason, with this game, on the PS4 version, there's an NA and a EU version. For some reason, the NA version was not registered with Sony, but the EU version is, and then the PS5 version is, but that one's just one list worldwide. And so I'm like, I'm playing the game, and I'm getting trophies, and I like, you know, check my trophies out at the end of the day, and I'm like, where's this game at? Like, why is it not showing up? But I was noticing like every time it loaded up new trophies, it like stopped and it wouldn't finish. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I was like, there's like option you can do to like load up trophy information on the system itself. And I did that. And then the game shows up. And I'm like, what is this? I'm looking it up and it's like, yeah, this is what happens. What this means is that the company, the developer did not upload the list to Sony servers, like their official servers, so you won't be able to find it online. You can see it on your system. Your system has it loaded up locally, but it's not registered with Sony yet until they put the list out. Like they sync it with Sony servers. And I'm like, son of a bitch.
And how
Are
old
you
is this
fucking
game?
kidding me? I don't know. Actually, it's like 2 years old. No, not even maybe 2. Maybe like 1. I think it came out last year.
They're probably not gonna sync up the list though.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's not big hope.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? And like, the game was like, okay, you know those. Okay, maybe you don't, because I know you don't really mess around with indie games too much. But like, I've seen a lot because of the Discord. There's a lot of indie games. Most indie games like on itch.io or like on Steam, and like especially if they're horror games, you just start in some place, and then maybe you get a piece of paper that tells you like why you're there or like what you need to find. But sometimes they don't even give you that, and it just tells you like a little prompt on the screen, like find the 8 lights, and it's like, okay, I'll find the 8 lights, and then something's chasing you, but there's no rhyme or reason for the shit at all. That's how this fucking game is, but just more glorified. Like it's a little bit more robust. So like you play as this dude named Jack, and I don't even know what time frame it is. I thought it was this modern time, but then I saw a billboard and it said like 1938. I was like, oh, okay. But then I saw some other shit. And I was like, this would not exist in 1938. So I just still don't know when it happened. But apparently, he's like this like one remaining survivor after some post-apocalyptic thing. We don't know what it is. Apparently, like when you find like these affected people, it's like Super Last of Us, by the way, Super Last of Us-esque. And it's like they're affected by the redwood. So like they'll attack you at first glance. I was like, oh, you mean like cordyceps? Okay, cool. And they're like, and I was like, okay. But it's like they're affected by the red wood. I was like, what the fuck's the red wood? and it's like, and then you could find this redwood stuff to upgrade yourself. And I'm like, but what is the red wood?
It's a type of tree, RJ.
Never find out. You never find out once. And you just go like, and he has like a base in the sewers. And then like you just have to go to 6 different like locations, and you have to like get these parts. Usually at the end of the level for a fucking heat ray. He's building a heat ray.
Yeah, gotta burn the redwoods.
He's building a heat ray.
Gotta set them on
in
fire.
1938. Like what? And I'm like, okay, what's he doing that for? And then once you finally get all the parts, which by the way, you're all over the place. You go, one exit takes you to like a football field, another exit takes you to apartment buildings, another exit takes you to a prison. I'm like, how the hell is all this connected? And then, of course, you find your way to the end of wherever you're at. You didn't circle around. You're just at the end point. Somehow that end point leads back down to the sewers. okay. And then and then you get all the parts, and then you go up, and then that's where his heat ray's at, and then you go to the heat ray and you activate it, and I guess it was like a vault full of like supplies and shit, and I'm like, how did he know that? Because there's no sign that says there's shit in here, like, hey, there's water and food in here, open me if you can. And I'm like, what? And then at the end, he's like, my name's Jack. I don't know, Reacher. And he's like, I'm the last survivor. I have food and water. You can come find me. We can rebuild. And I'm like, rebuild what, bro? You haven't found a single human, not once. It's just, it's like,
It's his Tinder profile.
just
Be like, got food and water, hit me up.
basically, man. It was so weird, man. Like the game was, it was okay. It was super. It was taking too many vibes from Last of Us. It was trying to go the horror route, and at first I was a little spooked out because when you shoot ladies in the face, because there's ladies and men you can fight that are affected by the redwood. When you shoot the ladies, they like will like sprint right really quick at you, and like since it's like an indie game, the movies aren't fluid, so it's jaunty, but it actually works for a horror game because it like it's like stilted and shit, and that's creepy. So I got freaked out by that at first, but then then I got desensitized because I was like, all right, that's all there is.
And it happens every time, I'm
But I was
guessing.
like, this game, yeah, and every single fucking time. And I was like, all right, well, I finished it and it was easy. Like the platinum was just beat the game. I was like, all right, moving on from that. Oh yeah, I played one other indie game and I don't remember what it was called. But I finished it recently, and Submerged, and it basically Shadow of the Colossus, but water instead of open fields. But then instead of colossi, you're trying to find supplies for your younger brother. Because it literally plays out the exact same. You're on a boat, you get to this pillar, you put your brother on like a fucking mantle, like the dude does to his lady friend in the game, and then she just for some reason knows that she needs to go to these high pillars across like this water. It's like a dystopian, not dystopian. It's like a just post-apocalyptic world, but like it seems modern because like there's statues and shit, and so you have to climb up there to get these supplies that are still there. I don't know why, but they're there. And with each supply, you go back down, you go back to the pillar with a cutscene, and then like it's like one thing is like you gotta heal your brother's wound, you gotta bandage it, and you gotta like give him water and food and the disinfectant and all that stuff, right? It leads in all this stuff. But as you do, you like these weird humanoid creatures just show up like in the background. They don't ever interact with you too much, but they're just in the background, and then like they're kind of watching you, and then you just start turning into it, which not explained, but you do. You just start turning into it, like the blue thing, like slowly, just like Shadow Colossus, you start turning into that black thingy, like exact same thing. And at the end of it, after you get the 10 supplies you need for the game, she like passes out, and then like the brother wakes up, and then he sees that like those creatures are now around her, but then like they like instead of the girl dying, like how the boy died, they're like they like I don't know, they like absorbed the shit out of her. I don't know. They went all Bulbasaur on her and used absorb, and they're like blah, 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 and like took it out, and then she's fine, and then they go away, and then I'm like, all
so
right.
it meant nothing.
It was
there was no
definitely
point to it because it was undone.
yeah. I mean, she was supposed to help her brother. Like that's the point, like helping her brother. But I mean, apparently it won awards. This game won awards. I mean, because like Shadow Colossus won awards, and it was going that route. So I mean, I'm not that surprised. It basically did retell Shadow Colossus, but with a female protagonist, with a brother, and then like in a more modern post-apocalyptic world, instead of like some weird just field. And then she lives because she did something good for her brother rather than him. And it was like, the big thing was like, were you supposed to do that? Were you supposed to kill the colossi, or were you not? Like that was like part of
Well,
the
it
whole
may have
appeal of
won
that game.
awards,
So
but it did not review well.
Well, I don't know, man, but it's actually getting a sequel, which is coming out this year.
Oh wow!
Yeah, bro, it's getting a sequel too. Like I thought I was looking up the wrong game. I was like, this is the second game. Oh fuck yeah, okay, I might pick it up. I might, because I mean, like it was harmless. It was a harmless game.
Yeah.
It was really cool, really relaxing, really really quick. I might pick it up, and this time I think they're older. So her brother and her like they're older. I think you get to play as a brother now too, but I don't know. That's what I've been playing. Whole bunch of shit. This is what happens when I don't play Neo. I play like 1,000 other games, and then here's the thing: I'm playing Neo again because I'm live streaming it
Yeah,
now,
so
and I'm finally doing my top hat only run, and I made it through the first 2 missions of the game. So we're just steamrolling through, man. Whole lot of shit, man. This is what happens when I don't play one game with all my life. I get to play 1,000 other games. But I'm sorry that took so damn long. We're gonna move on. So this week's podcast will be a little different. Instead of talking about like, fun little questions in the main story, we're going to try to cover a bunch of things really quickly, and kind of give a few thoughts, not get too deep into any one discussion, but kind of just sound off on a few things and then move on. Kind of like Trevor Noah's segment that he does, where like there's so much news, and like he says one thing, he's like, but we can't talk about that now because then this happened, and like kind of like that, but just nowhere near as good because we're not Trevor Noah. But let's start off with the state of play that happened earlier today. So on Wednesday, March 9th, Sony had a state of play, which we haven't had one in a while. And they'd said that it was going to be more focused on Japanese games, Japanese developers. So I was like, okay. And they said it was only be 20 minutes. This was not going to be like a big old showcase that they had like last fall. This was just going to be like a quick, a small little, kind of like a really small Nintendo Direct, like one of the shorter ones. So anyways, I'm going to kind of go through some of the stuff. And hope I can remember some of the shit that it was. So I'm going to go through some of the shit. So this game called Exoprimal debuted from Capcom. It looks shit. I'm not going to lie to you. It doesn't look good. The graphics look, they look like, I guess maybe early to mid PS4 era graphics. Like they don't look cutting edge by any means. It's just like some not mechs, like exosuit stuff, and you have to kill dinosaurs. And so the chat was hilarious.
I think that was no. Maybe I guess it's a different one. There's one on the Xbox that's like a first person dino shooter thing.
This is not an FPS. This is not an FPS. It's a third person game. I thought it was going to be an Earth defense game again. The Earth Defense Force, but just with dinosaurs instead of insects. That's what I thought it was going to be, and it kind of still looks like it. And so I was like, if that's the route they're going route, if that's what they're going, I'm like, okay, I can forgive the graphics because those games aren't graphically good either. But no one's playing them for the graphics. So I was like, okay, but I don't think it's going to do well. It's going to be pretty boring, honestly. And then we got an update on Ghostwire, and that game just looks so unique, man. Like you going from the blandness that Exoprimal seems it's looking like to me to Ghostwire. I'm like, I hope this game does super well. I really hope it does. I don't think I might play it. Maybe one day. It does seem cool enough for me to want to try one day, but definitely not a one day one for me. But I do hope it does super, super well. It just has such a unique setting. It's like mixing like first person like action, like these powers, like telekinetic powers or whatever, with horror at the same time. Like it's a cool little mix up that we don't see very often. Kind of like how Dishonored mix a lot of different genres too, with their really good storytelling. So I hope this is another like kind of Dishonored level success story. And then we got a news that Stranger Paradise, the Final Fantasy Origin game. I don't know if that's a PlayStation exclusive. It might be, but the demo's out now, so grab that demo while you can. I might try that because people are saying it's supposed to be more like Neo style combat. And if I might give it a shot to see how much it is. So yeah, and so that happened, and then we got an update on Forspoken. Do you remember Forspoken? It's a third person like action game with that black girl. It's a black girl.
Yes.
She's like in some like fantasy world. Yeah, she lived in New York, and now she's in a fantasy world. So they kind of show some more update on that, but it got delayed till October. It was supposed to come out, I think, this spring or something. It got delayed like several months.
Yep.
We'll see what happens with it. I read an interesting article about it a little while ago, which I thought was kind of poignant, but you're not going to hear this conversation talked about a lot, but it's the fact that she's black. I mean, she's black, right? And you don't see that very often. She's the black female lead, and she seems to be like one of the very few characters we've seen in this whole game. And she's from New York. She's supposed to be from New York. I think like the Bronx or something, right? And so whoever wrote this was wondering, like, is that going to matter at all? Or is it just going to be just something that they just say, like, just here you go, right? Because these are made by Japanese developers. And like, I don't know how much they know about black people in the Bronx or whatever borough she's from, right? And so like, is that even going to matter? And if it is, then why even bring all this shit up? Because like you can tell uniques like with Deathloop, right? the main leads are black, and it allowed them to tell a certain story, a certain style, because they were black, right? They were able to lean on that and use and do different things because where they're from or like their backgrounds. And with this game, from what I've seen at least, it kind of just seems she's just black because, and she's from the Bronx because. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because we're not going to hear that discourse talked about really much at all. And I think it's something worth talking about. So after that, then we got a showing of a game called Gundam Evolution, which I know will be gigantic over in Japan and probably be very niche over here. But it's supposed to be like an Overwatch style game, apparently, like 6v6. It's like a first person shooter, I guess. And I was like, okay. Again, I think it still will be huge in Japan, but not that big here. And then we got TMNT. There's a TMNT Cowabunga collection of a few games from the retro days. Including the Turtles in Time game, which I know is like many people's like main retro TMNT game from back in the day. So that's coming. There are other, I think there's like 2 other games with it too. I didn't see them, like their titles, but yeah, that's kind of cool. I'm sure that'll be picked up by some people. A lot of people really do like Turtles in Time. I never played it, but I know a lot of people talk about it. And then we got this weird game called Giga Bash. It's supposed to be some kind of kaiju brawler. Again, will be gigantic in Japan, but will not matter here. And then a big surprise, well, not big. I think like the biggest out of left field thing we got out of this was JoJo. You know JoJo Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah,
I think
JoJo's,
it is. So it had a fighting game called All Star Battle. I think on the PS3. It's getting remastered for the PS4, PS5, and it's I don't know when it's coming out, but that was like the most left out of left field because the lady announcer said like a fan favorite fighting game is coming to the PlayStation. I thought it was going to be Persona 4 that they're going to not kind of re-show that because that was announced a little while ago. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. I was like, JoJo, what the fuck? So that happened, and then I think the coolest game that they showed was this game called Trek to Yomi. And I don't know if it had been shown before. It was my first time seeing it. I think you would like it.
Doesn't sound familiar.
I think you would like it, at least the premise. So it's imagine Ghost of Tsushima, but a side scroller and in black and white, but instead of rated T, it's rated M. Because yeah, like it's very visceral. I don't know what the combat, like how it plays out, but like what they showed was like, you're fighting a few people at a time and you're like dodging and using your sword, but when you kill people, you kill them, and those sound effects are nasty, bro. And like it looks very visceral. It looks kind of cool. It might be one of the few side scrollers that I would play because I'm not a huge 2D side scrolling fan, but I don't know, I might give that a shot. I might. It looked really, really cool. And then Returnal is getting some DLC. It's getting a new DLC. It's called Ascension, and I don't know if this is gonna be paid or just because they announced it as like a March and then like update 1.06 or something like that. And it's supposed to, so it's going to bring co-op to it, which is like very on par with many not roguelikes, but like really tough Souls-like. I know this isn't really a Souls, more of a roguelike type of thing, but it's a really tough ass game, and most of these type of tough ass games allow you to have people help you. So that's kind of on par. But it is going to have like a survival mode thing, and I'm getting non-flashbacks when I played Remnant from the Ashes and their stupid survival mode shit. And so I'm not looking forward to that. I haven't played Returnal, but like whenever I ever do, man, I'm not going to look forward to that because I know there can be fucking trophies attached to it. It's going to just ruin my life and I'm going to start crying. So yeah, fuck that. Anyways, and the last 2 things was this weird game called Dialfield Chronicle was shown. I thought it was going to be Fire Emblem because it looks like fucking Fire Emblem. It plays like it has like that top. Well, no, wait. I guess it's more like Valkyria Chronicles or like a XCOM, like that top down view kind of thing.
Fire Emblem's like that too.
It has. Okay, cool. Then I thought it would be Fire Emblem because like it's like anime characters and shit. Like the art style seems like Fire Emblem as well. So I was like, oh shit, is Fire Emblem going to the PlayStation? Like, did Nintendo let go of Fire Emblem? I was like, no way. But no, it was like this is probably going to be trying to be PlayStation's answer to Fire Emblem or whoever the developers. This doesn't. I mean, it might be a exclusive, but I could totally see it not being, so whatever. And the last thing was a game called Valkyria Elysium, which is like some third-person action game, kind of reminiscent of Nier Automata. where you play as like this female chick. It seems to be taking place in the Nordic mythology because like they talked about Ragnarok and stuff. And so I was like, okay, but it has an anime style. So I was like, oh, right, this seems kind of weird. You guys talking about Ragnarok, but all right. But I know that's been
I
done
don't know.
before in anime and
One of
shit.
my
But it's
favorite
still weird.
animes is Vinland Saga, and it's straight up
It's still
Norse
weird to
history,
me.
and it's awesome.
It's still weird to hear from anime style characters talking about Norse mythology, but whatever. It's not for me to say. Anyways, that's coming out. It looks fun. Like it's a third person action with a hot chick. All right. I mean, what can you ask for? And you know, I mean, what can us weebs ask for? I just say weeks. I'm not a weeb, but yeah. Anyways, that was it. That was the whole thing. A bit meh overall, but like then again, they did say like Japanese developers mostly. 20 minutes. It's not a huge ass showcase, you know. So I was like, okay, well, you tempered my expectations, you know, accordingly. So I'm not disappointed by any means, but definitely there's always like a little bit of you that still wishes like you're still hoping for like, okay, I hope they go with a bang, right? Like something crazy, because there's heavy rumors that an Infamous game and a Sly Cooper game are in the works. Huge ass rumors. And there's also rumors of like Last of Us getting remastered or remade, like a straight up remake. And of course Bloodborne 2 will never leave discourse, or a Bloodborne remaster. Those two things I've stated in the public discourse for years now. So you know, like there's always a little shred of hope that you're hoping something big will either close it out or start it, you know. Or maybe just a crazy little mention and like I don't know, he's like remastered something of something really old will come out, you know, in the middle, you know. That's what you're always hoping for. But it didn't. But I shouldn't have expected it. I mean, I didn't for the most part. So overall, I was like, whatever, you know. The Yomi game looks cool. I know people are excited for the Eternal DLC. You know, Forspoken's gonna be interesting to watch. I hope Ghostwire does well. But yeah, that's kind of all it was. Really quick. But fuck all of that. Fuck your Elden Rings. Fuck your Dying Light 2s. Because the real game that dropped, ELEX II, motherfuckers. ELEX II done dropped.
I saw an ad for it on my Xbox home screen.
Of course you did. And rightfully so. ELEX II dropped, y'all. It's been too long. Dave and I are about to co-op that shit, put it on the channel. We're going to record it.
Is there co-op in it?
No, you guys can tell. I have no fucking idea. All I do know is that its highest rating critically is like a 76, which is still higher than I was expecting. I was expecting like 50s, 40s, because the first game was super trash. However, GameSpot gave it I think a 4 or something really low. I was like, about what I expected. But the user reviews are brutal. On PlayStation 5 or 4, whatever, it has like a 40 or something. But like on PC or Xbox, it's like 80 or something, or a high 70. And I was like, what is going on? Is the PlayStation version like broken or something? Or like what? Like
it wouldn't be the first time.
But anyways, David, can you explain to people why we're talking about ELEX in the first place?
So me and RJ went to like PAX 2016 or something like that. And
a long time ago.
And we were just hitting up random booths and stuff like that. And we hit up the ELEX booth, and the like one of those like guys that like made the game came over. He was like Swedish and shit, talking all Swedish.
Oh yeah, I remember he was an American.
Yeah. I mean,
it doesn't matter, but yeah, I remember that now. I remember that.
He was talking to us about the game, and it was just you know, it was cool like hearing his passion, but like what he was talking about, it sounds like the idea of ELEX sounds like an idea that like a middle schooler would come up for in a game. It's like, okay, like what if it's like medieval times, but like there was guns. Like you could have swords and guns. And castles. Like it was just like it was that. Like it was just like, yeah, it's like he basically was like it's Elder Scrolls, but there's guns and stuff. I'm like, you mean like Fallout? Like, it's like, no, but like it's still like in medieval like kind of fantasy world. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay, cool. and we played the demo, and it was just like it was pretty trash, and we were like, okay, you know,
Okay.
we probably
So-
won't ever talk about this game again.
except we always do.
Yeah, because now RJ
Okay, I don't even know
has like
why.
a
I don't even know
fascination
why
with
this
it.
particular game. We played so many games, and for some reason, this game stuck with us, and I don't know
Yeah.
why. To the game's credit, okay, when I actually did play the Ducks, I played it first, and then David played it. I didn't walk away thinking it was absolute
No.
garbage. Okay, but I did know from the very beginning that it was pulling. It was like it wanted to like pull from all the games that you knew the developers really really loved. It tried to make its own flavor on that, but it just came off as a bit of a knockoff of all those things. Like I was playing, I was like, okay, it has like the dialogue shit and options that kind of reminded me of Fallout and Mass Effect. And then it has like some combat that kind of reminds me a little bit of Dark Souls, kind of obviously not as hard, but like that style of like, or like maybe the Witcher style combat,
More Witcher, yeah.
Yeah, like Witcher style. And then, I mean, the game looked all right. I mean, it looked all right for the time. This was like 5 years ago, so you know, it didn't look bad, at least to me. But I was just like, I just feel like there's nothing original here at all. I mean, even your setting is not original. It's like, yeah, like it was weird. Like it was like an open field, like a Witcher thing, you know, like open plain or whatever. But like he has like these crazy weird futuristic armor, and I was like, okay, yeah, it definitely felt like there was no original ideas from this team. And then David played it, and he was like, huh? And David's not good at lying, and so he was like, yeah. He's like agreeing with the guy, like, oh yeah, I can see that, yeah. And I could show him. It's like, David, you don't like this game. And then we walked away. We walked away from the booth, and I was just utterly confused after the game. I was like, what exactly did I play? Like, it was a strange experience, but it was fun. And then it came out, and then it just terrible. It did god awful. I still wanted to play it though, but the thing is, apparently the trophies are like really hard because of like some weird shit that the game has going on for it. And I was like, ugh, that's kind of turning me off. But then ELEX II came out. I was like, first of all, when they even announced it, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. How did they get the funding for an ELEX II?
Passions, man.
I have no idea, bro. And then I was like, and David was like, yeah, hell yeah, ELEX II. I was like, all right. And then it finally came out. And then GameSpot review gave it like a 4, like the little headline said like it's relying on like too many old RPG tropes that like have like died away. But it's like relying on too many of those type of things. I was like, well, I don't know exactly what that means, but that's not a good thing nonetheless. But apparently Metacritic though is giving it favorable or at least average reviews. So I don't know, maybe it's better than the first, but it's just fun to laugh at it. It's just a little thing David and I like to do. But anyways, that happened. But the thing I want to talk about initially though was the Horizon Forbidden West review bombing, and to another set, Elden Ring's review bombing, because they're both getting review bombed, but for different reasons. And so, did you hear about the Forbidden West review bombing?
You told me a little bit about it. Something about people
so I'll kind
being
of fill you in
like,
a bit.
oh, this game's SJW.
Yeah, so yeah, it's the people who will never let go of what was that that controversy from like 2015 or 16 with that one chick journalist. It was called like something gate, like Gamergate or something like that, or whatever.
Gamergate?
It was like one of the like, people just think that like that just is, they will never let go of that. I guess, I don't know. I mean, there's some things I've seen that kind of make me kind of scratch my head. Like I remember I watched some Call of Duty game that I knew took place like, or Battlefield that took place a long time ago, and I was like, were women in that?
Yeah.
Like,
so yeah,
and I was like, this seems to be like you're just plugging this in.
Yeah, so there was a thing. It was World War One. That is Battlefield 1, and there were.
Well, it wasn't just that one, but it was something else.
World War II too. There was a girl like prominently featured. So they had women and they had people of color in both. And there were people, who were like, well, the representation is not accurate because they couldn't say that there were no, women in the military because there was one-offs and stuff like that. and that there were no people of color because there was some, but the representation was off. But they did have a point. I think it was in Call of Duty World War II. There was like,
yeah, it was Call of Duty. I think it was Call of Duty. It wasn't a Battlefield
there
game. It was
was
Call of Duty.
in Call of Duty World War II. There was black people on the Nazis team, like in multiplayer. It wasn't like I think they took it out, but like I'm not sure. But yeah, there was a controversy because there was black people on the Nazis. Like,
Huh.
well,
Well, I don't think it was Battlefield, because I know about Battlefield 1 had the black guy on it, but like they were referencing something very specific. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I do know there were black people in those wars. They just don't want to talk about that, at least not here. But I swear it was a Call of Duty game that I saw someone playing, and I was like, were women in this?
it could have been the same.
Like,
It could have been the same
I was
thing.
so confused.
Like,
I mean, I wasn't like, I didn't want to just tear it down for the sake of women being in it. I was just saying though, like, but I was just saying, like, does this make sense? Like, I was just saying, of a logical standpoint, like, I guess a representation standpoint, like, does this make sense? But anyways, with Horizon, yeah, like a bunch of suspected, like the biggest suspicion of it, at least, is like a lot of people are upset. A lot of guys, specifically, let me clarify that, guys are upset about, like, they're like complaining about Aloy not being like that feminine, not just in how she acts, but also how she looks, and not so much how she dresses, because like she was never like, I mean, she wore armor in the first game, so like that's nothing different. But I think just how she would be acted and talked, and I guess just held herself, I guess, wasn't that feminine. And maybe she bulked up a bit
yeah,
between the two games. I don't
how are
know.
they
People are a little mad about
supposed to
that,
get
but
one
also she,
off to a butch
I don't
looking
know,
chick?
bro. That's their problem. But I guess she had like this they purposely put in this peach fuzz on her chin, right? But I read into it, and apparently that peach fuzz is like, I forget what was the background, but like they explained it, and they were like, no, this is an actual thing that happens in real life with certain women of certain cultures and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, okay. But then I was just thinking, like, okay, maybe they're mad about the beard fuzz, but I'm like, women have fucking hair. Like, I don't know what kind of guys, like, you fellas out there, you fucking incels that like don't know, but like, women's arms can get hairy as hell. Like, have you like, maybe you haven't seen enough women to fucking know, sick burn. But like, a woman's legs can get the wintertime, ladies don't give a fuck. Like, you think other people go to hibernation and don't shave? Like, they are absolutely about amongst that. Okay, don't think I don't know your secrets. But like, I don't care, and most guys shouldn't care. Like, it's just what it is,
It's
right? Like,
just,
there's still definitely women,
yeah.
and they're never gonna be that as hairy as like fucking me. Like, it's not gonna be like my leg hair, my arm hair, but like, women's arms can get hairy, women's legs can get hairy sometimes, and so it's like, do you not know that? Like, it's just like, get over your fucking selves, man. But that seems to be the biggest suspicion of the review bombing.
Yeah, I mean, there's
with
that.
this game.
There's. I mean, this was kind of a controversial thing in the first one, but there's definitely an overtone of uh, a message of how we're treating the environment, and what's to come of us and the world if we continue down the path that we're currently heading with fossil fuels and stuff like that. So I know that probably came back up again with this new one.
I didn't know about that. That's new. I
Yeah,
didn't
I
hear
mean,
about
yeah.
that.
So like the overall story is, about basically that their community hid technology, got rid of technology because like one of the people who was going to like restart the world was like, no, like technology is what fucked this up in the first place, and then he erased everything, and that's what set the whole world back to zero, basically. So
That's what explains. Okay,
yeah,
so I've always wondered since the first game. I was like, this doesn't seem to be taking place in like, ancient times, but yet it looks like ancient times, except for the dinosaurs, the robot dinosaurs. But
yeah. So essentially,
yeah,
the
okay.
world, it was post-apocalyptic thing. There was this like brain bank that got together and was like, "Hey, we're gonna store all of the world's knowledge, and when it's time to reset, we'll reset." But this one dude was like, "Fuck that shit," that's the reason we're here is because of the world's knowledge. So he reset the whole thing, and he destroyed all the knowledge, and that's what she finds out in the end of the first game, I think.
but he didn't want to destroy all the robot dinosaurs. All right, cool.
Yeah, who knows?
I
didn't
we'll
play it.
leave the robot dinosaurs.
I just got the Cliff Notes version. I just got the Cliff Notes.
We'll leave those around, but everything else, God.
Yeah,
like
but,
what?
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. People are just, you know, they get mad about stuff. Like I think out of all of the review bombing thing, I think this one, although it's the most prevalent, makes the least sense to me. But I mean, we're normal people. Like
it's the dumbest one in a long time.
I think
sure.
you get this way with everything. Like people were complaining about the Batman because it was a little like, you know, oh yeah, because the Batman, because the only white people in the movie were Batman and the bad guys. Like they were like, so the message is the white people are evil, and all the other main characters are people of color. Like people are freaking out about that. Like
I didn't see that,
yeah.
and I'm glad I didn't, because I probably would have had a meltdown.
Yeah, it's just people are.
But it's like the main character's still white. The dude who's going to save the day is still white. So I don't know what you're complaining about. You just want all the fucking glory, right? Of course.
Yeah. So
you just want all the white people to be whiteys. All right, that's fun. That's cool. All right, let's move on.
But what's Elden Ring? Like, I didn't hear about Elden Ring.
Oh, so okay, here comes a bigger discourse of difficulty in games, which you knew was going to happen, right? And I think the reason why it's so big with this game, because I don't remember hearing this much discourse about it, like with Bloodborne, Sekiro, any of the Souls games, right? And I think it's because this is obviously the biggest From game so far.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah, they get the extra attention of having J.R.R. Martin write the lore.
There's that too.
It's all this build up, like
all over. And also, since people are home, it's easier to see it now. You know, we've been able to keep closer eye on it and stuff, and so the hype. There's never been this much hype from a FromSoft game or Souls game ever, right? And obviously, with the more reach you get and the more eyes you get on it, you're gonna get all types of people coming to the game, especially and including those who shouldn't be around your game. And like that's actually it's like a marketing thing that it's like that you have to watch out for. And I know it's because I'm a marketing major. Like it's something we have to worry about in my own job. Is like, you know, we can cast the net as wide as we want, but there should be a strategic point to how far you want to cast that net, because it's going to be plenty of people who you do not want to be coming, you know, to that you want to reach to, like people who definitely don't want anything to do with what you do, right? And so you have this game, but unfortunately, this is a little bit harder to control your reach for something like this, right? You make an announcement, put on a game show, and like that's that, right? And then everyone else starts pushing it out, but like you can't control what people do.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much you can say about like, hey, this game's hard, and by hard, I mean like you're gonna get fucked.
Yeah, like this ain't your daddy's game, all right? Like this is the real fucking deal, okay? Like, I mean, you can say that as much as you want, and they did. I have never seen the director. I don't remember his name, but I've never seen him give out as many statements on this game before release and with any other game. Like I don't remember talking about it. He usually says, I usually never hear anything from this guy. Like when Sekiro came out, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, I don't remember him saying nothing. Like he just was like, I'm making fucking stacks, yo. Hey, like that's all I ever heard him say. But I heard this dude, he was giving out article after article about like, this is the most accessible game we've ever made. We're trying to appeal to all, you know, to all players, but it's still going to be challenging for those who know our lineage and all that stuff. And I'm like, he's basically trying his best to explain, because he knew that this was the biggest game he's ever had.
Yeah.
And so he was trying to do his best too, but still only so much you can do. Like you said, you can only spin that yarn so many times. But even still, there might be people who actually read those articles and hear that shit. Very small compared to the amount of people who are actually going to go play the game, right? You and I you'll watch a video from your YouTube channels. I'll read the articles from the news outlets. People might get it shared on other social medias, but that's a very small percentage, right? And so what you've been seeing is, because critically the game is getting fucking 20 out of 10, right? Yeah. Like it's just the best. And like it has it broke the Steam record for most concurrent players ever. Just
yeah, the servers have crashed a whole bunch since I've been playing. So
oh really? Yeah. Oh jeez. Oh yeah. So it's just but like when when you go to the user reviews, people are noticing like the score is not anywhere close, or it's like it's way too, it's a little bit too off from the critical review, especially when you hear about how well it's doing. Like it's sold so many copies and it's made a lot of money. It's like, okay, obviously something far-fetched is going on here, something nefarious is going on. And when you actually dig deeper, you find out like the people who are leaving these shit reviews, like they just made their account. Elden Ring was the first game they reviewed. You know, and then they really don't give a huge explanation for their review. They might say one thing, maybe like the thing that's like everyone's complained about, like, you know, like some of the fixes that like everyone wants them to do, because like, you know, there's something, I don't know what they are, you probably do, some of the things that, you know, they know that they need to fix with a patch or whatever, and they'll probably cite those, but that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like okay, you're just giving all the telltale signs that like either you haven't played this or you did, but very, very little, and you found out that it's not fucking a PS2 platform game that you can beat by, you know, in your sleep, and you got all mad about it. But people have been making a huge discourse, especially on Reddit, about like, you know, having easy mode, like maybe not for this game, but just in general and stuff, or like, you know, should games even be this hard, or like they're just mad that the game is this hard. And it's just like, I think the majority of these people who are complaining is just like, they either didn't know this game was the way this game is, or they're mad about the fact that like this game is not for them. You know, like it was not made for these type of players,
Yeah.
or they're just mad about the fact that like, you know, the game is beating them. Like, you know, because it sucks. It sucks. Like I can tell you, like it sucks when you're fighting I'm sure you felt like this. You just like that defeatist feeling that you get from a game after you try like 1,000 times on a boss or like a level or something like that, and you're just stuck, or you're just like, I just don't know what I'm supposed to do. It's a terrible, terrible feeling.
Yeah.
And you want to let that out somehow. And instead, most people don't like to take blame for themselves. They just blame the game. I mean, granted, a lot of times it is the game's fault, but in this case, it probably isn't. And it's just, this game wasn't for you, boy. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, like, so like I just was glancing through some of the negative reviews.
I had a feeling that's what you were doing. I saw your eyes.
So like a lot of it is just like I couldn't read too much into it, but a lot of it does seem like guys who just like I don't like. So okay, so when the game starts off, it Dark Souls you from the beginning what you expect. Like you can beat the first boss, and you get a pretty cool thing for beating the tutorial boss
if you can.
But odds are he's gonna punk you, and then even after you get through the tutorial, the first like thing you see out in the distance is another thing that will destroy you, and you won't be able to beat until like much further on. After the second boss probably is when you'll have enough like stuff to get him down, unless you cheese him some other way. But yeah, the first boss, right? The first boss is so hard that they had to add in an item that made him easier. Like, and it doesn't tell you where to get it. Like, you have to randomly find it.
Of course, it doesn't tell you.
Yeah, it doesn't. Like, I looked it up because I was watching Gamer Ranks, like 10 things the game doesn't tell you, and it's one of them. And it doesn't tell you. It's this like you have to find this random ass cave, which you have to beat another hard. Because are you aware of invader spirits? Do they have those in?
Yeah. Okay. That's the thing in Bloodborne, I think too.
Yeah.
They don't have them in Neo. There's not people can't just show up in your games.
No, they also have NPC invaders.
They don't have that either.
Okay, so like,
well, kind of. You remember? Okay, did you get far enough in Neo where you fought that yokai where like he plays like a little sitar looking thing?
No, there's probably not.
Well, there's a yokai that plays like a little instrument, and he can, you did see like those graves that were in the ground, like they were red or blue. Okay, so red ones are actual players who have died. That little sitar motherfucker can bring them from the dead, and I guess that kind of acts as Neo's version of that.
Yeah, maybe. All right, you have to fight this invader who has blood attacks that will fuck you up.
He'll inflict bleeding on you.
Yeah. So once you beat him, you get into the cave. Then you get mobbed by like 10 bandits, and then you go into this cave, and then you get there's a guy he's in all of the FromSoft games pretty much. Maybe he's not in Blood Souls or
who is he? Is it Patches?
Patches. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
Patches is in this too, and you have to fight Patches to a stalemate, and then you can buy an item from him for 3,000 runes, not souls now. That's like these shackles that'll pin down the boss for like, I don't know, 2 seconds. But even then, it doesn't work in the second phase of the boss
Oh, come
fight,
on.
which is like when you would actually want it. So like you know, I guess you could get through the first phase of the boss fight without losing too much health or anything. So like people had a hell of a time with Margaret, the first boss, and then the second boss too, Godric, is also a pain in the ass. So like it's hard, and yeah, for people who like. And like what I said in the very beginning, I did a Dex arcane build, and I wasn't doing a lot of attack. Like there is a strategy for Dex, but yeah, I would say right now the meta is strength and faith probably. But like that's the meta. It's gonna change, and I think people are just I think more people are playing it. It is open world, and people even the Dark Souls community was like, I don't know about this, and it does feel empty to a certain degree because partially because it doesn't lead you around. You're not going to get something that then all of a sudden you have 50 markers across your map to go do shit. Like there's shit to be done, but you have to find it. Which is
So yeah, because most open world games would have a mini map with markers, but this is a Souls game though too. So I was like, nah, fuck that
yeah.
shit. But it's still an open world game, so there will still be things to do.
Yeah. There's just
Okay,
tons
okay.
of like little caverns that you can go into, and like I said, you'll randomly find a boss, or it'll be a trap cavern, and like there's a whole bunch of traps and then a treasure at the end, or something like that. There's stuff to find and places to go and stuff. It's not going to lead you around. It's not going to tell you what to do. It's not going to track your quests. So like either you have to just play the game or get on Elden wiki all the fucking time, which is what I do.
That's crazy. So it's I can in my head Guitar Hero used to have a cheat code that you could use. It's not even really a cheat, but it was called performance mode. No one uses it except for gods, okay? Because it takes away the note chart.
Oh yeah.
But the game will still play. And so it's basically like basically Skyrim, but with no HUD on at
Yeah, I
all.
mean it was
And also no journal to check stuff, no
no, like
tracker,
you got to
no
write down. Okay,
nothing.
so like on the map, right? So there's merchants spread out throughout the world that sell different kinds of shit, and sometimes they'll be next to a point of grace or a bonfire, but in this game it's called Point of Grace, which you can teleport to if you remember that they're by that point of grace. But like nothing, but some of them you'll just find randomly, not by a point of grace, just randomly in the world, and you might forget. So like they do have ways you can actually put down stamps of like hey, stamp. There's a like you can choose whatever. I use diamonds for merchants. Like there's a stamp that's a merchant. So I know to go back there if I need to. But yeah, it doesn't hold your
Well,
hand.
that's something.
It's not as empty as it feels if you were just like kind of just walking around. I don't know. I love it. It definitely is going like there's a meta, and if you don't follow the meta, you're gonna have a hard time. That's the way it's been with every Souls game. The meta for Dark Souls 3 was the Wind Blades, or the Twin Blades, but they were called the Wind Blades because that's the only weapon you needed in the entire game if you were doing a Dex build. Um, and that's maybe that's where people like some people who are actually playing Dark Souls games are being pissed off because the last Dark Souls game they had was 3, which you could do a Dex build and do a pure Dex build and beat the entire game easy because of the Twin Blades. And this is not going to let you do that. So
But at least with those players, if they give a bad review, they'll have some meat to their review. Like they'll at least have some
yeah,
reasoning. You may not agree with it, but at least it's like some actual well thought out thing, and he or she is a Souls player. right? Like they played, like this is not just because like it's hard because I don't know how to work with this. It's just hard because like it's like because I used to be able to do this and that and change this and that and I don't like
Well,
that,
one guy
whatever.
was
But like
like
that's
one guy was complaining about Dex, but then was complaining like I had to farm endlessly to beat the second boss, and I was like, yeah, bro, me too. Like I fucking had to
yeah, bro.
do.
All of us did too.
Yeah, like you can't you cannot in this game especially if you're going from just side of grace to side of grace in the linear progression that the game technically wants you to do. Like you could go straight through this game hitting all of just the half two boss fights. You could do that. But if you
Why would you do that though?
but I mean, who knows? People are weird.
It's an open world game. Why would you do that? Why would the hell would you
But
do
if you
that?
do that, yes, you will run into a
Yeah.
bad level like wall.
Yeah, you can be under leveled like crazy.
Yeah, so like I was under leveled for the second area. There's like the second main area you're supposed to be in, and I couldn't get into that area without having my ass handed to me. So I don't know.
You're like, and I can tell you, okay, this is not anything new because I played Demon Souls from 09 or 2010, whatever year that was, and I was in the fourth world, and I don't think I had a particular build in mind, but I was getting destroyed by the skeletons, by the golden skeletons from that game, and I was like, okay, I gotta grind. Like that's what this means. I'm pushing through, and it's not working. So I just had to grind a little bit in earlier levels, and then come back, upgrade my, I think I was able to do. I think I upgraded my sword too that I had, and it came back and fucking made mincemeat out of them. But like I'm just like the point I'm saying though is like it's just like I don't know, like they need to stop complaining because it's like don't you remember? Or is this really your first rodeo with a Souls game or an open world game or something like that? Because like that's just how the shit goes.
Yeah,
the grinding is part of is in the nature of this.
Yeah,
stuff.
and a lot of it too is like, although I mean, there's a lot of people who beat the game already. Of course they have, but a lot
one-handed.
Yeah, because
no behind their back.
I saw some dude playing it with a Ring Fit controller. I was like, you son of a
there we
bitch.
go. There we go. That's what I'm looking for.
Like, I don't want to see that shit. But anyway, yeah. So like, but this is a lot bigger of a game, so there's a lot of meta that hasn't been discovered yet.
Yeah, it just came out too.
Yeah,
I'm sure there'll be plenty.
So I don't know. I love it. It's great. There's a lot to do. It is the best Souls-like game that they have made. And then they did it in an open world, and I think they're pulling it off. Like, could the traversal of the open world be better? Sure, it was definitely the Dark Souls engine just put into an open world. So there's a little jank. Like I can tell that the game designer's like, fuck, we have a jump button now. Which they do have a dedicated jump button.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you could jump now. You could finally jump.
Let's fucking make them do 3D platforming, which is never a fucking good idea in any game. That's even I know you love 3D platforming games, but that is like it's still hard. Like you have to make
it work. Well, it works in a game that's supposed to be a platformer.
Yes,
but when a game is a Souls-like,
yeah, like so like there's the second area. They make you fucking 3D platform, like you're walking on edges, like jumping from one edge to another, like across insta kill gaps and shit like that, and like you have to like jump over walls, but like it's just high enough to where like if you don't get a good jump, you'll hit the walls. So like it's so yeah, that could be better. I wish there was like a climb over waist high, wall button, but
oh, that's funny.
But it's kind of the beauty of it, because sometimes you'll find a gap that you're like, I don't know if they wanted me to do this, but I'm gonna fucking do it. Like there was a point where there was a boss that you had to get like through a pretty tough mob to get to, and there was no side of grace in between or after. So if you lost any health or stuff like that, that was less health for the boss. And I was like, I looked over to the side and I saw like a wall that was like a little lower. And I'm like, I wonder if I can jump off that wall. And I did, and I survived, and it was good. And I just walked straight to the boss. And it felt so cool that I was like, I, outthought the game.
It's that moment where like in a show or something, like people were just fucking like trying to get through this obstacle thing or this huge gauntlet, and like there's the motherfucker on the side who's like, "See you later, see you losers later," like because he found like the shortcut to kind of get through all that shit, and they're just like, "What?"
Yeah.
Anyways,
but yeah, so it's the best Souls game. It is a little janky as far as the open world elements are concerned. If you have to be okay with not being led around by your nose, because this is the definition of like they took the Zelda, how the Zelda didn't lead you around, and then
Breath of the Wild,
amplified it. Because at least with Zelda, they gave you mission markers. This, they don't give you mission markers. You'll talk to an NPC and they'll be like, yeah, like if you could like go to the castle and like get my thing, I'd appreciate that. And you're just like, what fucking castle? Like what the fuck? What are you talking about?
castle.
The castle.
What castle?
And then
the castle,
the
castle.
And by the way, when you get the thing I want, I'm not gonna be where you first talk to me, because why the fuck would I? I'm gonna be somewhere else.
Yeah, I got things to do. I'm a busy man. I got things to do. I gotta go.
So yeah, it's a very Souls-like experience, and I love it.
Well, I will say, because we only got a few minutes left, and by that I mean I have 2 minutes left. I will say, I think David told me that basically this is Dark Souls 3 but made perfect, and I think I agree with that. Even down to the engine, because I've seen the game and I'm like, it looks okay, because yes, it's like when Fallout 4 came out. It's like it looks like the Fallout engine but just as pretty as it can be. And I think that's like the same case with this, right? It's the Dark Souls engine but as pretty as it can possibly be. So eventually they're going to have to revamp their engine. Anyways, wanted to say that. I also wanted to say that the funny thing about this game when it first came out was I started laughing when I apparently more people than I thought picked this game up because they were honestly expecting it to be Elder Scrolls or Breath of the Wild. And I was like, okay, I guess I can kind of see that, because like if you didn't see the game title, or if you didn't know who From Software was, which I mean maybe you don't know what that is, but like for you not to even know what a Souls like supposed to be at this point, I'm like, okay, you are very sheltered with your gaming, but somehow you didn't know that, and I'm just like, you had to have just not have known what this game really was, which I don't even know how that's possible. But they thought it was Elder Scrolls, and then they were obviously playing it, and like you said, like you're gonna get Dark Souled right away, and then I can only imagine that, like, to think you're gonna go into like an Elder Scrolls type game, and then you get Dark Souled so fast, and you don't stop getting Dark Souled for a while. And then I can imagine just that insane, like, what have I gotten myself into feeling. But like a lot of people are mad because like that's what they thought they were getting into, or Breath of the Wild even. And Breath of the Wild, yeah, definitely took a lot of inspiration from Dark Souls, but it's still a Nintendo game. And Nintendo games have never been revered for their insane crushing brutality or difficulty. It was just like, let's take all the good stuff of the Soul things that we like, that we can implement to Zelda game, but still keep it a Zelda game, right? And so people were thinking, yeah, we'll play that. I played that. I'll play this. And it's like people were definitely getting a taste of reality, which I thought was hilarious, because I was like, I mean, I guess I'm a nerd with gaming and stuff like that, but I'm just like, I just don't know how you could have gone this long, not have known what Elden Ring was supposed to be. I just don't know how sheltered of your news or your knowledge of gaming you could possibly be to not know. But I know that's been fueling some of the anger of some of these butthurt players who either didn't know what it was, or they just were but it all goes back to just the fact that it's the biggest release they've ever had. It's the widest reach of people they're going to have, and a lot of players are playing this who just shouldn't be playing it, because this is still, no matter how accessible the game's supposed to be, it's still for a niche audience, and that's how it is. That's what they do, and no one's mad about that except for all these players who shouldn't be playing this game in the first place, in my opinion. That's just me. Not every game's for everybody. I'm gonna say it. Not every game's for everybody. All right, I said it. I said what I said. I ain't take it back. But yeah. So, anyways, that's gonna wrap up this podcast this week. we'll be back next week so things are kind of getting back to normal. Yeah. Yeah, you can I don't have a streaming schedule, so I can't say like you can catch me streaming on these days. I stream whenever the fuck I want. So I try to stream on a Monday or Tuesday and a Friday. I try, but sometimes that happens. Like I'm not streaming this Friday, or maybe I will, but it'll be like really late and I'll be naked. But uh but yeah. Anyways, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Goodbye, guys.